Hi YouTube. Well, you can say goodbye to this bucket garden. I'm taking it down and I'm going to replace it with what I think is a big improvement. Now on this old one, of course, I used the toilet valve to meter the water, and one of the reasons I didn't like that is because it has to be plumbed from the bottom, meaning that it's got to be raised up from the ground, and that really I didn't think was a great plan. And so I'm going to do it a different way this time, and I'll explain that as soon as I get all this stuff taken down and the other one put up. So here we have the new bucket garden. Once again, I have 8 buckets to plant in, and this one here on the end has got what it has in there. That's an evaporative cooler float valve, and I like it better because you don't have to connect it from the bottom. It can all sit flat. The other one I had to have up on a 2x4 frame, and I wasn't happy about that. Now, one thing I've done here, and I will need to explain this a little bit, is I'm using this water tubing. This is a water hose. It's not actually a garden hose. And the reason I'm doing that is because I watched a video by another YouTube person that posts, and he makes some really good videos, so you ought to check him out. But his name is Americangamefowl, and he makes a lot of very good videos. And this whole thing is sort of a mix, my own way of mixing things together, of what I think is the best way to do things. You know, there are other ways to connect up this water. Now, one thing I'll show you here that I could have used is this 1/2-inch piping. I've had this for a couple of years, actually, this piping. And this is what I was intending to use originally a few years ago, but I don't necessarily trust it for growing food. It'd be fine if you're just sprinkling your lawn or your roses or something. But according to American Gamefowl, this kind of hose, and also green garden hoses or regular garden hoses, they put lead into the water. So I decided to eliminate that problem completely by having a water hose connecting up here, and also connecting each one of those buckets to my system. Now, if I use that 1/2-inch, irrigation tubing, it'd be cheaper and it would have been a little easier. And I'm going to show you in the next video, not this one, another way to hook up all the buckets. It's a lot easier than doing what I've done. But of course, I can't do things the easy way because that's just the way I am. And I am satisfied with the way this looks. So we're going to turn it on and see what happens. That's my assistant turning it on. It's hard for me to see. It's bright sunlight here. But I think you can see, if you look in that bucket there that I marked on the inside, I marked, I want this roughly 3 inches. I don't want it to go much more than 3 inches. And you can adjust these float valves. There's a screw on the side of them, which I'll show in the next video, and that will allow you to get the height that you want. So now for wicking the water, I'm borrowing an idea from another YouTube poster called ldsprepper, and I don't know if he is the one that invented this or not, but what he uses, instead of a cup or something with soil in it and then holes poked in that cup, is he came up with the idea, or somebody did, that you're just going to wick the water up using an old cotton sock, or in this case what I'm using is a towel that my daughter cut up. And while we're on that subject of things that she did, she also made all these top buckets. She did all the drilling and everything by herself. So this is something anybody really can do it. It's not a complicated thing to make. It doesn't even take that long, to be honest with you. So we're just waiting now for the water to get up to level, and it may take a while. I'll turn the video back on once it's up to level. So here we are a little while later, and the water has turned off, and everything's looking pretty good. I got a little bit of a leak over there. It's pretty minor, but I will fix that. I'm not sure what's leaking. It shouldn't be hard to fix. And I should talk a little bit about the potting soil that I used last year. So this is Miracle Grow potting mix, and I used this last year, and it worked pretty well. Now there was a problem with the tomatoes. I only had this issue with the tomatoes. I was growing big boy tomatoes last year, which I'm not going to grow this year. I'm going to grow other kinds of tomatoes, but they had blossom end rot in the very beginning, and the first few tomatoes off of each plant all had it, but it did go away after the first few tomatoes, and I'm not really sure why that is, but that is what happened. And one of the other things I want to say about this particular way of doing things, you know, last year I used PVC piping. I used Schedule 40 PVC piping to make my plumbing system for all these buckets. And you know, the problem with that is it's hard to expand it, and this is way easier to, you know, if I want to add something on here or even take something away, I can do that without much of a problem.